VenomMyotismon, also known as Femdemon, one of the, if not the, most well-known Digimon antagonists in the anime series for not only his intimidating role, but his ability to cheat death multiple times over, appearing as the second main antagonist of the original Digimon adventure. Myotismon was the first Digimon to reach Mega level in the series. In this video, I will try answering the question, can you beat Digimon Story Time Stranger using only the Myotismon line? The rules are as follow. I can only use the following Digimons: Dracmon, Sangloupmon, Myotismon, VenomMyotismon, and MaloMyotismon. I am well aware that the game considers Digimon and Digimon to be Myotismon's pre-evolutions, but I found Dracmon and Sangloupmon were more fitting for the vampire team. No cross arts? Difficulty set to hard at all times? A limit of 1 item per battle. I had to make an exception for a single battle, but I will cover that when we get there. No use of the Digifarm. I had to apply this rule as I realized how potentially broken the Digifarm was on my previous run. No duplicate of one Digimon, meaning I can only use 1 copy of each Digimon in my active party, so no teams of 6 Myotismon, for example. While I can use Aegiomon, I cannot change his equipment or skills. Finally, Digimons can only use the skills shown on their field guide. Upgrade of said skill. In case of a skill slot being empty, I am allowed to use any skills that I want for these slots. Starting a new game on hard, I pick Digimon as my starter, given he is the closest to Dracmon by Digivolution. While fighting the Digimons in the downstairs area of the government building, I had my first game over against a Tentomon's group. Then I proceed to go up the elevator, continue the main story until I got to unlock Digivolutions, and then Digivolve Digimon into Dracmon. The first few attempts to fight Aegiomon were unsuccessful. He was hitting way too hard, and having only a single Dracmon, I was dealing way too low in damage output. Until I reached level 14 and I equipped 1 HP attachment and a plant guard for defenses, and made use of Venom Trap to increase my damage output, as I use Working Napalm to slowly take away his health until he was acting 3 times per turn, and I was forced to use an HP capsule as I was blocking his attacks, allowing me to succeed on my 4th attempt. The next boss actually proved even more of a challenge. Aegiomon was dealing way too much damage, as well as applying status effects and reducing my stats. I had to get to level 20 before I could finally have a chance, along with a heal skill equipped and a Venom Wall too to prevent poison. Even then, Aegiomon was hitting very hard, and I needed him not to attack too often or my run would simply go down the drain. I succeeded on my 7th attempt. With the help of Aegiomon, Sangloupmon was the first try and the first easy boss of this run. For side quests, I will only briefly cover them unless they give me a challenge, since most of them have enemies weaker than main story bosses, and as to avoid making the video go on and take over 2 hours. Doing the first side quest, Aegiomon, he was an easy fight, though he did hit Aegiomon pretty hard. The Venom duo proved somewhat more difficult, given that they dealt a lot of damage to Dracmon and knocked out Aegiomon, but they remained at first try and itemless. Next is Dracmon. He resisted all of my attacks, making the fight a slug, but MaloMyotismon was there to deal damage, at least making the fight a bit faster. unlocking champion level, I digivolved my Dracmon into Sangloupmon and added new Dracmon into my party. If you're wondering, all my points are going towards the Wisdom Tree. The next series of side quests, Bakemon, Guilmon, and the giant toy Aegiomon were trivialized by Minervamon's help, which I could not decline, as was the next main quest fight against the 3 Black Gatomons. Unsurprisingly, this trend follows up with the next series of side quests where I fight Orochimon along with Omnimon for assistance this time and Tossmon. But this streak of easy battles ends with Titamon, where I managed to deal nearly 60% of his HP before he defeats my party, even though I used a mythical spray DX, sending us to the digital world. Next is the Aegiomon trio. The boss was a first try for sure and did not require items, but I had run out of SP on some Digimons by the end of the battle, forcing me to use regular attacks, all the while Dracmon was forced to act as the party's healer. For Parrotmon, I wanted to see how I fared without using character reversal, only to be utterly crushed on my first attempt. On my second attempt, I decided to just bite the bullet and bug him. To my surprise, he was not immune to it. Actually, only 2 bosses in the entire run were immune to getting bugged. Of course, it made the fight much easier as I crushed Parrotmon on my second attempt. Going straight to Factorial area, we fight Ultimate Aegiomon for an easy first try, given my current party all have access to both physical and magical attacks, as well as being viruses, while he is a data type. But the easy fights do not continue, as Volcanismon defeated me on my first attempt because I was too hard-headed for my own good and refused to use items until it was far too late. The second try, however, wasn't easy either, as I used a series of bugs on the various ends to lower their damage output if they were vaccines. The fight was long and grueling. This time I used a Medicine Spray DX and managed to pull out a win. But the side quest following this arduous battle was another easy one against a loader Aegiomon. Not long after I reached agent level 5 and digivolved Sangloupmon into Myotismon, Dracmon to Sangloupmon, and I added a brand new Dracmon to my party. Sharkmon was another fight I would consider medium difficulty. He annihilated my team for sure, but could barely lower Myotismon's HP below 50%, leading to a first try without items. Jumping to the Gear Forest, we encounter Cherrymon, whose fight was one of the easiest in this entire challenge run after the side quests. However, Aegiomon was a lot harder, disposing of Aegiomon right away and then defeating my Dracmon. While I succeeded without using items, he also took Sangloupmon to under 50% HP. This time his usage of character reversal on himself proved useless as we were already neutral to one another. The Ogre Trio's rematch inside the Guardian's Palace was more challenging than their first fight, defeating both my healer, Dracmon, and Aegiomon. My first target was Ogremon himself, due to him gaining in attack power with every one of his brothers defeated. After one was down, I managed to more easily defeat the other two with Sangloupmon and Myotismon. Now we are at the one fight that forced me to create an exception to my one item rule, Digimon. My first attempt wasn't even fair. He destroyed my team in phase 1, leaving me with a low health Myotismon that got destroyed when phase 2 started. Then, on my second attempt, I decided to try bugging him. It would help by increasing my damage for sure, but it also would increase his attack dealing abilities too, since we're both resistant to Dark Element and uses that element as primary attack element. For my fourth attempt, I realized that Dracmon's personality was not in Wisdom, lowering his stats drastically. Switching it back and increasing everyone's level to 30, I tried again, only to still be outmatched, but I was getting closer at least. For my fifth attempt, I went up to level 40 and managed to reach phase 2, but got destroyed on him using his time-stopping skill. And now finally the sixth attempt. The one where I broke my one item per fight rule. And due to his gimmick requiring an item use, the field generator, and his requirement of at least using his ultimate once before you can deploy it, keeping this rule intact would have forced me to level up so much, I would have trivialized all future fights just to gain enough defenses to finish the fight. Surprisingly, the fight was a lot more interesting when you interact with it as intended and use the field generator, though it did not make the fight easy in any way, as after using his time stop move, I was forced to revive my party before using the generator. Now with the hardest roadblock out of the way, we now fight Sangloupmon. He managed to crush Aegiomon. From this point on, expect bosses to one-hit him, as I will stop mentioning his getting bodied. I also lost Dracmon and nearly lost Sangloupmon, but still put out a victory without using any items. Only to be followed by two very easy fights. VenomMon, who is weak to poison and got destroyed, and then Calamariamon, who once again is bugged as she never wakes up from sleep when attacked, even the regular sleep status. This time I did not use sleep willingly, it was simply a side effect of my party's extra hit effects. Back to the Gear Forest, we encounter Witchmon, another easy fight, this time primarily because she is a data type, making her weak to my full virus party. Now, you probably expect me to say Titan Caroterimon was another roadblock, which would logically make sense. After all, my party is constituted of only vampires, which would logically be weak to fire, and given his tendency to spam Shine of Bee, a powerful fire move capable of dealing multiple thousands of damage, and followed by his tendency to protect himself afterward, surely I would have struggled, right? I know, because I did believe that myself, only to be proven wrong. You see, Tyrant Caboterimon is actually ridiculously weak to paralysis, causing him to fail over 70% of his Shine of Bee, and if he does not use that skill, he will not use his defensive moves next. Mine only was with Sangloupmon. I did not even require the use of a single item. We followed this with another series of side quests. Tiger Vespamon, Grondramon, and Wargrowlmons were all easy battles, same with Aegiomon, the next main quest boss, as I humiliated him by bugging him. Myotismon defeated me due to a lack of healing power on Dracmon's side. After increasing his SPI with items, I returned to battle and got him on my second try, mainly because his AI did not allow him to finish off Myotismon. After lowering his health to red, giving him a massive damage boost, right before I healed him back. Rinse and repeat every turns. Next, we have the first side quest to actually scare me, a fight against Myotismon, all because he nearly killed Sangloupmon in a single attack from the get-go, only to very rarely use his signature moves afterward, making the fight a lot easier. As for the only carnival, I decided I would wait until much later, given most early fights are easy and would just give me EXP, which I do not require right now. Next is retaking Central Town. Until this point, I've made it a point of mocking VenomMyotismon in my previous videos, joking how I would like to say it was difficult, but the fight was over already. This sort of joke. This time, I cannot make this joke. You see, he defeated my two weakest Digimons, only to self-game over himself by getting his spell reflected on himself by Myotismon. Jokes aside, Zombie Plutomon took me 2 tries to defeat. Now, I'm sure many of you are not aware if you played this game normally, but if you let him charge fully his ultimate move, he will fully heal himself before dealing massive damage to your team. However, he also has another unique gimmick beyond the healing hurts you. You see, if he is confused on his turn, Zombie Plutomon will heal himself, reducing his maximum HP. So confusing him throughout the fight is a way to go if you do not have access to powerful Angel Digimons. With this, I can now finally access Mega level Digimons, where I evolve Myotismon, who was my original Dracmon, if you remember, into MaloMyotismon, Sangloupmon into Myotismon, then VenomMyotismon, Dracmon to Myotismon, and added a brand new Sangloupmon and Dracmon from my box into my party, now having access to my full party. Dr. Kuga was, as usual, a joke. Sure, he defeated Dracmon, my party's weakest link. He has nothing to be proud of and every reason to run away crying again. We follow this humiliation with another as I crush both the hopes and dreams of Apollomon by bugging him, and then his sister Diamond by equipping sleep walls on everyone and stomping her to the ground. The fight against Aegiomon proved harder than it should because of my misuse of character reversal, causing Aegiomon to become weak to dark elements, sure, but also deal large amounts of damage to my team whenever using dark element, causing me to lose Dracmon, VenomMyotismon, and nearly dropping MaloMyotismon. After this, there is a fight against the Giant Slayer, followed by a large series of side quests. Most of the fights were easy. So as to not waste your time, I will skip right away to the difficult fights. In the Omni Carnival, near the end is a battle against 3 angels, Slash Aegiomon, Clavis Aegiomon, and Magna Aegiomon. Normally, this is a fight I will have bugged the enemies, but due to their speed and damage capacities, I had to instead bug my own party to have a chance against their high damage dealing capabilities. Next, I would say is unsurprising. After reuniting the Royal Knights and defeating Machinedramon, we received the challenge from the Royal Knights to go and fight them. Each member of the Royal Knights are individually stronger than the game's final boss. I still tried a fight against Omnimon but got obliterated right away, so I opted to return to this challenge after dealing with the final boss. Next are the 4 ultimate battles given to us by Mirai. I would like to rename them to ultimate jokes as none of them prove a challenge. Apocalypmon? Turns out his big, scary darkness zone move deals percentile damage, and as long as you have panic resistance, it cannot kill you as easily as long as you heal. Aegiomon Bound of Bravery? Sure, it's hard, but he only managed to down my party's healer and weakest member, Dracmon. Gabumon Bound of Friendship was the same as Aegiomon, but instead defeated MaloMyotismon, both easily out-healable. Finally, Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode. He had the potential of being a proper challenge if not for his lack of focus, as he would always spread his attacks randomly amongst the party. Returning to the main quest, we are now face to face with the 7 Demon Lords. We were another series of easy fights, except for Lilithmon. With her using Phantom Pain, she inflicted high damage to my entire party, but also wounded them, making it impossible to heal and defeating MaloMyotismon and Dracmon, but ultimately I won. The final battle against Chronomon was, as per his usual, very long. He managed to defeat Dracmon very early, forcing me to use a revival capsule to keep the fight going, but it did not prove much different than he would in a regular run. By the end, my only casualty was Sangloupmon. Now, with the final boss down, it is time to take on the post-game challenges. First is Myotismon, the final fight of the Omni Carnival. A very difficult fight and the first enemy to be immune to getting bugged. So instead I bugged my own party on my second try, but he simply destroyed us in a matter of seconds. On my third attempt, I had leveled up my entire party to level 70 and managed to win by bugging Myotismon and VenomMyotismon, as well as equipping non-bug to MaloMyotismon, making the fight a lot easier. Next on the list are the Royal Knights. I decided I would do them in order with Omnimon first, as he is right in front of me, only to get destroyed multiple times over, each time raising my level more and more until I reach level 99, which is not enough. I do enough damage, but my team is both too slow and not defensive enough. Evolving and evolving to reset my levels and gain another 99 levels, I try again for a fourth time, not counting the pre-final boss attempt, and finally succeed itemless, but not without difficulties, as Omnimon still deals a considerable amount of damage. Genkumon is next. While he deals massive damage, it was a fast and easy fight. Jesmon is next for an easy battle, as he dealt very little damage. Craniamon managed to KO VenomMyotismon before I pressed the record button in a single attack, but once bugged by Dracmon, it was another easy fight. Aegiomon might be the largest of the Real Knight, but he is also the biggest pushover. Magnamon was quite a bit more difficult as he nearly KO'd my entire team and even KO'd Myotismon and Dracmon. Crusadermon was an easy fight for my virus Digimons, given his night monster datas. If this challenge was made using vaccines, it would have been a lot more difficult and a whole different story. Dynasmon was just another easy fight. Kentoosmon proved to be another challenge, mainly due to his speed and multiple attacks by turn. I did manage to defeat him on my first try, but I had to use a revival spray to be capable of bugging him. Gallantmon was the third artist of the Royal Knights, as he used powerful light attacks, destroying my team on my first attempt and forcing me to bug him on my second attempt. Force VenomMon was another dangerous opponent, even after being bugged. While he would hit hard, I managed to keep the casualties to only my Myotismon. Alphamon was the one I feared the most, and for a good reason. On my first attempt, I could not bug him, because he destroyed my party before Dracmon could act, forcing me to give up. On my second attempt, I switched Dracmon in right from the get-go to bug Alphamon. But even after that, some of his attacks proved dangerous, but I succeeded in the end. And now the ultimate challenge, the Olympus 12. Wanting to test my strength, I go right away without changing anything to my party and challenge him. It goes without saying, I was destroyed pretty fast. Still with the same team, I try again and got a little farther, making a plan into my head as I realized my party really lacks in defensive stats. Third try, after raising my stats through level up, I try again, this time focusing on defeating my enemies one at a time, getting all the way to Jupitermon before I destroyed my team by acting first. Fourth attempt was really good. I had managed to defeat all of the Olympus 12 and still they stopped respawning. But some weird bug ruined my attempt, causing the defeated Olympus 12 to respawn and keep attacking for some reason. That and also the fact that I could not bug Grace Novamon completely killed my attempt in the end. finally the 5th attempt. Taking my time in defeating the Olympus 12 one at a time as I kept Dynamon alive this whole time to avoid Novamon's spawn. I managed to defeat each of the Olympus 12 until I have Novamon. Making sure to bug my party beforehand, I defeat Dynamon only to crush him in an instant with the full might of Myotismon. With this, I have finally answered the question, can I beat Digimon Story Time Stranger using only Myotismon's evolution line? Yes, it is very possible, but also very difficult, and I loved every moment of it. If you like this video and want more videos like this, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing, as I do intend on making more videos with this type of challenges in the future.